and I love the smell of an empty map in the morning. Yes, friends, this is the same map that I'd built a small town on last time around, and as you can see, I have deleted it. And I deleted it using the, what's it called? Better Bulldozer, I think it's called, as recommended by Stormy Waters. I'm pretty sure it was Stormy. It could be anyone. Basically, what you do is you select what you want it to remove, and then drag, and then it's removed. It's a thing of absolute beauty. Works very well. Sometimes you need multiple passes over a single area in order to make it happen, but fundamentally, you know, it does exactly what you want it to do. It removes everything in a given area. Now, last time out, we started in this area. I'm sure those of you who have watched the previous series can visualize the traffic horror that was going on this particular piece of land. Over here, if you recall, this is the lost city of Atlantis. This is where we built a little later on. Interestingly enough, it's flooded itself. Exciting. No idea why. I've made no changes to the landscape at all at this point. You know, then we've got other some kind of bits that I never really got round to using. So, where am I going to get started? I mean, the temptation, given that I've cleared this whole area, is to start here. But as you can see, I've already got a fair shake of ground pollution going on this bit. So this is going to be my major industrial area. And if we zoom out as far as I can, you'll see that actually it's relatively central. So if I were to convert all of this into industry, possibly extending out a little further, and then spilling out of that into the areas that are going to require it. Now that might be too centralized. That might drive traffic absolutely insane. But the objective of this particular build is to build something that actually looks good. Not something that looks as shambolic as the last one ended up doing. I mean, even Crop Circle, which, you know, it was pretty decent, it wasn't all it could be, let's put it that way. So let's start by drawing a bit of a town, and the question is, where am I going to put it? See, I'm quite, you know, given that Atlantis was a write-off, I'm tempted to make Atlantis the starting point. Now, the fundamental that I'm going to be working on here is traffic snarl-up avoidance, and I want, you know, relatively geometrically shaped city infrastructure. As you can see, I've got 3 million quid in the bank, and you know, I've got a fair few buildings unlocked. I think I've got all of the important stuff unlocked already, and that's tremendous. Okay, so if we assume that this is going to be our industrial area, then first things first, let's get a little bridgette going over here. Now, I don't want to commit to anything at this time. I mean, as much as I've got, you know, 0 cash problems, I'd quite like to keep it that way. Right, 60 meters off the deck is a little on the high side. Let's go for 36. You think 36? Let's go 24. 24 seems to be a good kind of sagely number. Let's have a look. Is that staying flat? That's staying flat. So, yeah, so highways are kind of fundamental to what I'm trying to build. Come on, give me an angle here. There we go, yeah. There we are. We have our first piece of building. It's got a kink at the end of it. You unworthy individual. And in order to make this this kind of pay off, you know, I'm going to try and keep things in a perpendicular fashion when laying roads out. So that bit of bridge I just stuck up there, that's a temporary feature, but it means that I'm starting this alternate direction bridge at the exact same height. And it should make doing a straight line off the other end relatively straightforward. And if we line up the pillars like that, in fact, you know what I'd be better off doing? I'd be better off giving it something to snap to, but that's about as good as it needs to be. Let's get them as close together as possible. That ought to do it. Okay, so that over in this area we will have power and industry. Industry, yes. Like a bit of industry. And let's. I don't think you really need don't think we really need a kind of suspension bridge going over there. We'll keep it at 24. 24 is a little high. Seriously, why? What's this obsession with suspension bridging it? I mean, yeah, it is a little on the high side, but you'll be okay with that. Right, keep those running in parallel. That'll do for now. Obviously, this one needs flipping around. Okay, so we're going to. I mean, everything that we do is there's going to be some temporary building, some that is not so temporary, some that is kind of permanent. But I don't want to be. Those are getting further apart, aren't they? Maybe only slightly, but they are doing it. You can see it if you could drive through the pillars here. If you could drive through the pillars. Come on. I don't know. It looks close-ish. So right, given that we're going to want industrial stuff, trucks and the like going around there, we'll start out by let's get ourselves some segmentation going on here. Now I'm going to figure a lot of this out as I go, shape-wise, anyway. But what we're talking about here is we're talking about right angles as a means of laying things out neatly. Now, I'm not going to be building a monster grid type city because they don't work great. Well, I mean they're no worse than the kind of the circular approach that I've been taking historically. But does that look? Yeah, that looks okay. But I want to, I do want to fill stuff out in such a way that it looks good, and it'll get there over time. In this first one, it's going to look a bit shambolic for a while. Feel free to make use of the word shambolic more often in everyday life. I feel that that's a good thing. And the other thing, and this is important, the other thing we will not be doing is we will not be aggressively zoning areas, willy-nilly. We'll be, obviously we will be zoning areas, but not in such a way that should encourage the dreaded plague to pay us a visit. Right, and then we'll get rid of that bit right there. All right, that's quite nice. So we're going to kind of follow the edge of the coastline with some of the road, and then inside there we will grid up some. But the real trick is going to be, because what I want to do is I want to avoid using the little slip roads, and instead I want to hold on, bear with me, I can't do two things at once, you know this by now. Yeah, instead of using the slip roads, I want to use highway wherever possible, and then turn that into 6-lane, and then into 2-lane accordingly, and so forth. How do we feel about that? Does that look all right? You've got a kink at the end. Well, let's go some of the way, and then the rest of the way. Okay, right, yeah. And that bit's all right. And then we will grid down this way. I know, I can hear you. You're all saying, well, what was this big talk just now about not gridding? I'm not gridding. This is layout. There's a difference. Trust me. You will see the methodly madness in a moment. And I could do this, with every bit of street exactly identical in terms of spacing and so on, but I want it to feel organic while at the same time nicely laid out. How do we feel about that? That feels pretty good. And also, these little corner sections here, I like them. I think we can do something decorative and festive at the same time using those. So next up, we'll get ourselves our bulldozer. That's nice, yeah. Oh, feel it. There we go. That should about do it. So yeah, I mean, basically what I'm trying to do is keep the whole thing kind of grid laid out like that, but without too much conformity. So all of this can be residential. That's no problem at all. It's going to need access to services, and I'll probably build a special kind of service area to address that. And in fact, what I'll do is, if we get rid of this, let's hook that up now. All the roads and so forth are temporary for the moment, apart from the highways, and hopefully, and the gridding out of individual districts, different zones, however you wish to describe them, really. Yeah, I mean, the principles are all, intact. There's not going to be any half-baked, half-cooked, half-arsed kind of layout setups unless they are designed to be demolished immediately after being set up. So this bit of road on the end here, it's not going to be hanging around. It's only here for the time being until I extend further. And then you'll see what I'm driving at in terms of kind of the highway principle, I think is the way to describe it. And I don't want zones any bigger than this forcing down a single piece of highway. So what I will end up doing, I'll do a kind of a sketcheroo here, is we'll go around the corner, right? So imagine that's gone all the way around, and then once it gets to there, it's going to come underneath and then hook up on the end. Can you see that? Does that make sense? Obviously this will be this carriageway, so it will come off that side, we'll loop around underneath, come out attached to there, and we'll actually, this outside section will be 6 lane, just to keep the thing moving. I mean, I could one-way it. I think one-waying it might actually be beneficial, or I could go, do I want 6 lane, do I want 4, well, you can't have 4 lane, that's one way. This would seem to be an oversight. Oh, hold on, what are you? 4-lane road with decorative trees. Oh, let's go 6. Alright, let's upgrade this. Which way are you facing there, friend? You're facing the right way! That's very generous of you. No, not that one. I didn't want that bit. Yes, alright, thank you, tooltip. Exuberant tool tipping. This one here, back on there, right. Upgrade. What about that? Why can't I upgrade that? Because it's all a bit narrow, I'm suspecting. Alright, well, if we kill this, maybe I'll be able to get it back in afterwards. There we go. Right, so, yeah, we've got, road round the outside that can carry a fair bit. And, I'm all about the trees. For those of you who didn't see, the various tree-related episodes in the previous series, trees are where it's at. Okay, so we go round, and then this is going to be the highway route back on again, and again it will probably be some kind of underneath both and then looping back on kind of an idea. All being well, it should work out just fine. All being realistic, however, it will probably be a complete shambles. But, I've made a shambles before, and somehow we're still here. Let's see if I can... I don't want to upgrade anymore. Let's see if I can just pop you out. Oh, go on. Go in a straight line. Think of the children. No? Okay. No, I could... Would you do something diagonal for me? Some kind of 45 degree... Kind of, yeah. Oh, you wanted it. We'll take that. 44.7. Okay, right. See, that looks quite nice. I mean, obviously, there's no cars in it. There's no pollution. There's no one griping about all of the things that I'm not supplying. Let's get pipe work going while I'm here. Right, and with the pipe work, I'm basically going to follow the roads. Normally, I'd do a grid of some description under each area that I was working on, but I've seen other people just basically, mirror where their roads are, and given that I'm not intending to infill the entire map, rather I'm trying to make sure that the whole map looks like it's intentionally built on. So we'll have proper kind of delineation in between different areas. We'll have proper networks connecting them up. That looks all right, doesn't it? And we'll just put one across there for redundancy's sake. Excellent. Right, now all we need to do is go and find some water to pollute, which I guess is going to be over here. And we've so far we've managed to plough through a couple of 100,000. We're going to be ploughing through a lot more than that. Do I want to put this in the same place that I always put it? Well, when I say always, I mean, you know, last time. And if anything, the sensible thing to do is to put it at the edge of the map. So you know what? I'm going to put it at the edge of the map. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit more expensive. In fact, this cruddy little island here, that could do the job quite nicely. So let's go over here and then let's pump that sucker. In fact, let's have a quick look and see what the pollution in the water's like already. It seems to have flowed through. Well, that's a good thing. Right, okay, so we want to... Should we go straight for water treatment? Does feel like a bit of a waste of this rather magnificent little island here. Now, are you going to sit on there happily? Yeah, I think you are. There we go. We'll stick one on there for the moment, and we can always stick, you know, raw outlet on there later. We'll give it enough juice to keep itself powered. What do you think? 8 megawatts. Is that going to be enough to power that? I'd like to think so. Okay, right. So that's pollution out. In which case, I might as well do something similar using water in. I've not experimented before with kind of whole map usage. Which though is the current flowing here? Let's unpause for a moment. There we go. Current's flowing in the way that suits me. So if I were to put one on there, and remember, I'm not going to expand too quickly. I might expand in terms of gridding. So how much are you going to cost me there? 12,500. Bargain. Yeah, I mean, you know, I'll probably grid up quite a lot, but this is all about control. 2 megawatts is not going to cut it. Right, fine. In that case, we'll start on my power plant idea that I had. We're going full solar, given that you get reasonable bang for buck on solar, but I'd like to make it a feature. So you know, maybe solar island. Solar island, you say? That could work. How many solar plants can I actually get on there? Oh, you know, tons. We can get a lot of solar plants on there. Hopefully it won't burn down, because getting the fire brigade out there might prove to be a little on the tricky side. Okay, how am I going to do this? What do you want to do with this? People might well want to use it as a shortcut, but we'll have something temporary for now. Okay, so this is the power center. Power center here. In fact, since this is the power center, we'll get rid of you. See, don't you love that I just make stuff up on the fly? Don't you love it? You know, this is the disorganized building squad. Bang that up there, and then of course we're going to need quite a lot of electrical cable. I think it's safe to say. Pylons are plenty. No? No, what about like that? It's ugly. I'll find a more attractive way to do it at some point. Did I even want to go? Yeah, I did want to go over that. Right. How much are you going to charge me for this then, friend? Well, that's 10,000. Let's go as far as here, and then let's work some kind of clever paralleling of the road. Right. Bang. Right, so we've got power, we've got water. Yeah, that should just about cover it. All right. Okay. Well, you know, this seems to be a good time to round out. What do we think? What do we think? Lightweight round on the coast, maybe? Lightweight on the interior and dense on the coast? I think lightweight on the coast. Let's start, you know, relatively, you know, let's keep it calm. That bit's going to have a bit of highway jutting into it, so let's jut that in now. In fact, let's jut off. If you jut into something, it's very difficult to get the angle right. Whereas if you jut out, I know the verb jut, not often used, then you have a little more control over the angle. So that's given me a perfect, beautiful 90-degree to play with there. Right. So, okay, all right. I need to make an arbitrary rule up here. How about no more than 5 blocks at once? Now, obviously, those are all different sizes, but that feels like a good amount to move in at the same time, because obviously, they're all going to die at the same time, and I'm going to be, doing endless repetitions of, bemoaning my health services for not keeping up. Right, let's stroll on and see what sort of uptake we get. Obviously, the first aboard have decided that they can't be bothered building right next to where the power is. Yep, look, it's just here. Come on, plonk a little house down, and you'll have all the electricity you could possibly desire. Maybe a bigger house than that would have been advisable. Can we get to somewhere where it's actually going to... just making things difficult. Oh, apparently that was getting power. Well, never mind. It will definitely get power now. There we are. Fortunately, it didn't cost that chap his house. There we go. We're in. We're off. We're running. And we have a population of 0. I don't think the census has been taken yet. No, the houses are built, but nobody's in. How curious. It's like some sort of ghost town. It's quite an attractive ghost town, but it's a ghost town nonetheless. I'm going to fix that bit. What's your problem? Why haven't you got water? You should have water aplenty. Everything's on the grid. Or is it having to travel too far? Or is the water... Yeah, it hasn't got any power, right? Okay. No? Okay, where's the nearest power outlets over there? Okay, right, let's go as far as that. Come on, get across that. There we go. There we go. All you can drink, my friends. Yes? Happy now? And yet, still nobody lived there. I wonder if this is a byproduct of my having booted everyone out, or have I got my taxes set? Let's roll the taxes down to a level that we'll describe as encouraging. Yeah, let's do all of that. I mean, it could be that there's no jobs yet, but I find that hard to believe. Oh, I bet I know what it is. I bet it's because there's no outside connections. All right, I'm gonna throw up an outside connection or two, and we'll continue these early days of what will be a splendid and plague-free city. You mark my words. Soon. Thanks very much for watching. I've been Colonel Failure. Leave a like, subscribe. This series is going to go places. I'll probably do a bit of a bit of offline, a bit of online, and you can follow along at home. Suggestions are always welcome. Subscriptions even more so. Likes are a bonus. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time. Cheerio.
Listen.